And welcome back to Miami. Those are the guys who are awaiting the winner of tonight's game behind us. The Heat and the Celtics Game 7. The NBA Finals will begin Thursday night in San Francisco. One of these teams will play against Golden State, who's there for the 6th time in the last 8 years. And we had a little topic, and we were all together Friday night in Boston talking about what another Warriors championship might mean for the legacy of Steph Curry. And the conversation took a few twists and turns, and eventually it led to this.
The Warriors have a chance to lift Steph Curry higher in that
I get you, but we're talking about Kevin Durant. We're talking about Kevin Durant. 6'11" with a 7'6" wingspan who can shoot from threes, mid-range, can finish in the open court and defense. I understand, but we're talking about Kevin Durant. Be very careful. Be very careful.
So now that we've had 48 hours to digest that entire, the genesis of the conversation, LeBron James is the highest rated current player in NBA history. Kevin Durant slightly ahead of Steph Curry. If Curry wins another championship, could he surpass KD on the all-time list? It's a pretty simple question.
He's
yes
already surpassed him in terms of resume. I'm talking about individual ability. He's not Kevin Durant. We have to stop this nonsense. It has to stop. It has to stop right now.
No,
Kevin Durant. Listen, Steph Curry is the greatest shooter we've ever seen. What is Kevin Durant? Chopped liver? He's 6'11" with a 7'6" wingspan.
I'm not going to let you go to the extreme to present our cases.
Go ahead.
Kevin Durant had to join a team with Steph Curry.
They needed him.
Win. I don't care about that.
They needed him too.
Steph Curry won. He won before Kevin Durant got there. And Stephen A., he's going to win after Kevin Durant is gone.
Am I missing something? Did I not see many people, including you, because I watch PTI? That's the #1 show on ESPN. Okay? #1 show, PTI. 20 years ago. I remember everybody saying when Steph Curry won that first title, Kyrie and Kevin Love were hurt. I remember when they talked about 2 and 3 being one, they actually needed Kevin Durant because they couldn't deal with LeBron James. Excuse me, what, doesn't that matter? This is Kevin Durant. Now, I understand he made a big mistake. Big mistake. You don't leave Steph Curry for Kyrie Irving. Let's just call it what it is. You don't do that. But this is Kevin Durant, one of the greatest offensive players this game has ever seen.
Stephen A., that's Steph Curry. Let me say that again. One of the greatest offensive players we've ever seen as well. So here it is. It's ain't one-on-one. If they were to play this, basketball is a tall man's game. If both of those guys were at the court, you pick KD first because he's taller. But let me tell you something about what Steph Curry has accomplished. He's won 2 MVPs, 1 unanimous. He did that and won a championship before KD got there.
We just said that.
Okay, and if he can do it with KD on another team with this Golden State Warriors, that now to me, if they were ranking both of those players, you would have to be in trouble.
I'm getting Jordan. I'm getting Isaiah. I'm getting every Hall of Famer. Y'all are going to pay for this. I mean, you know better. Listen, there's nothing as great as Steph Curry is. There is nothing that Steph Curry does that Kevin Durant can't do. There is a
That's not true.
that Steph Curry can't do that Kevin Durant can. Oh, come on.
You just said that KD made a bad decision doing what?
So
leaving Steph Curry. So that's decision making and leadership.
You
How
got
about
me there.
that?
You got me there.
Okay.
Decision making. I got that.
It's a fun debate.
No
but
dispute.
Steph Curry, if he wins this year, he surpasses KD.
Someone needs to say out loud.
Better resume.
Someone needs to say out loud that not only did Steph win a championship before KD got there, but in the previous season they won 73 games and had a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals.
Let me ask you a question because my sister Carmen would love to hear from you on this, Greedy. If Steph Curry wasn't in Golden State, but it was KD with Clay and Draymond and stuff like that, what would happen?
Russell Westbrook. He had James Harden.
Stop it.
And win.
Stop it.
Come on,
the thing that you said on the record about Russell Westbrook and James Harden?
You just said he can still play 20 years later.
I said he could still play. I ain't say it was Steph Curry.
He played with Hall of Famers in the lineup, and they didn't win.
You know Russell Westbrook and James Harden are both in the top 75, and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson
are not.
You know that, right?
I think Klay Thompson deserved to be ahead of both James Harden and Russell Westbrook.
They're both there.
I'm just saying.
Michael Wilbon, if Steph Curry plays great and they win the championship in the next 2 weeks, do you believe he surpasses? However, we're ranking, at the end of the day, we're ranking the players.
Right.
Does he surpass Kevin Durant on the all-time list?
For now, and Kevin Durant will have 2 or 3 or 4 more years to answer. It's fluid. It's not over. But for now, yeah.
He has a better record.
And if the Warriors win it all, it will be because Steph wins MVP.
Better resume. But the bottom line is Steph Curry's the greatest shooter ever and one of the top 10, 15 players ever. Kevin Durant, without question, is top 10 and one of the greatest scorers in NBA history. And y'all both know it.
All right,
Stop
we're going to take a little bit of a detour right now, as though that wasn't already a little bit of a detour. We're going to go behind the scenes at Tiffany & Company as the NBA updated their biggest trophies and renamed some of them to honor some of their greatest icons. Take a look.
Yeah, it certainly looks like that's what's going to happen. I've been watching him warm up behind me for the last 20 minutes. He's only going about half speed, but he looks okay. The trainers are not watching him. He has been cleared. The Celtics personnel are. They're not sure what they're going to see from Tyler Hero tonight about whether he's going to be a big part of the game plan or a small part of the game plan. He obviously averaging 21 points off the bench, 6th man of the year, could be a huge boost to this offense, but it's unclear whether this is a decoy move to force Boston to make some last-minute preparations or whether he's going to be a Game 7 game changer. I'll tell you what, Zubin, it was a mistake for the Celtics to let the series get this long. They've allowed Hero to get healthy. They've allowed Jimmy Butler to get healthier. They've allowed Kyle Lowry to get healthier. And obviously we're in Miami for the deciding game.
No doubt we saw Lowry with 18 in the last game, and it all comes down tonight to 48 minutes, maybe more. And on that note, you just sort of said it. The Celtics, I mean, they had it. So what's their big takeaway from Game 6 as they continue to stew on it?
They cannot allow Jason Tatum not to put his imprint on this game, as has happened in the end of Game 6. Tatum only with 3 shots in the second half of that potential closeout game. He made 9 of 12 shots for the game. The 9 isn't the impressive part. The 12 is the stunning part. The double teams that Eric Spoelstra and the Heat threw at Tatum late in the game will now be prepared for by the Celtics, and Tatum has got to deliver. The last time he was in a road elimination game was a few weeks ago in Milwaukee. He had one of the games of his life with 46 points. He is going to need another high-level performance in this building with the fans knowing that they can get their team to the finals with one more victory.
Whoever wins this series, it's going to be hard-fought when decided. But if you're Boston, think about it. That would be back-to-back 7-game series, and then you would play Game 1 on the road against a team that's had an entire week off. First things first, win the East.
I am Mike Greenberg. We are looking forward to it. We're an hour from tip-off tonight, the Celtics and the Heat. And we begin a little bit unusual fashion, but we have some news we were not expecting. It starts with our three-point performance, brought to you by Mountain Dew. The Miami Heat made 15 threes Friday night to force this Game 7. Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, Max Strus combined to make 11 threes in the win after hitting just 8 as a trio in their previous 3 games. And they may have another three-point shooter at their disposal tonight. Again, Woj is with us, as always, with the very latest injury news, something we did not expect to see. Woj, what's the latest on Tyler Hero?
Yeah, Greeny, some added intrigue for this Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals tonight. Tyler Hero's expected to play. He's missed 3 games with that groin injury, but Eric Spoelstra said he passed the test that he needed to pass for the Heat's trainers, and he's going to play tonight. Now, how much he can give them, that remains a question. This is a Game 7. They're not going to let Tyler Hero shoot his way back into condition in a Game 7. I think he'll have, maybe not a lot of leeway, but can he come out and make some shots, help the Heat here in a Game 7? Now, I'm told defensively that's where there's real concern, that his lateral movement, his ability to go side to side and guard, that's not back as far as perhaps his ability to shoot the ball. Expect the Celtics to attack him defensively when he's on the floor, but Tyler Hero's going to try to give the Heat what he can here in this Game 7 and see if Miami can get out of the East and head to Golden State for a Game 1 this week in the NBA Finals. defense.
All hands on deck, as you would expect in this Game 7. Woj, thank you. Meanwhile, Jalen Rose, you and I were sitting here watching him warm up. What did you see in Tyler Hero?
Threes off of the catch, threes off of the dribble, layups jumping off of both feet. A lot of north-south movement, but Woj said the key, gentlemen, no lateral movement. And I didn't see him get into a defensive stance. Usually when you're coming back from a groin, a lot of guys like to stretch that area, and one of the ways you do it, I didn't play defense, but I know some people who did it, and based on that, I didn't see him work on that area. But here's what they need him to do. Match Derek White offensively. That's what they need. He had 18 points in the second half. They need Tyler Hero to give him some offense.
And make a few big buckets. Maybe he will be able to contribute. One way or another, the stage is set here for a Game 7. And Stephen A., the Celtics are actually a road favorite in this game tonight. Yes. What word would you use to describe the pressure on the Celtics?
Immense. That's the word that comes to my mind. I'm thinking about Jason Tatum. We've been talking about you, elevating you to superstar status in this league, top 10 player. Well, this is your third, Eastern Conference Finals. You don't make it out of this one, you're 0 for 3. You're Jaylen Brown. You don't make it out of here, you're 0 for 4 in conference finals appearances, failing to get to the NBA Finals. A lot of people look at the Boston Celtics when you take into account how tremendous their defense was since the new year has started and how this franchise has been turned around because of it. Now it comes down to offense, essentially, and you got two dudes in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and you can't finish a 3-2 lead when you had a game in Boston and then back in South Beach, particularly after knocking off the Greek Freak in that Game 6 in Milwaukee before you beat him in Game 7. You should be able to handle this. That is the expectation, and if you don't get it done, we'll all know you didn't get it done.
I picked Boston to beat Brooklyn. I picked Boston confidently to beat Milwaukee and win 7. I picked Boston to win this series, and now I'm bailing. Ooh! Because I didn't see the mental toughness the other night in Boston that I saw from the opponent, from the Miami Heat, the most willful team in professional basketball. They didn't have the mental toughness to match Miami. I'm not saying they're mentally weak, Stephen A. I'm saying they're not as strong here as Miami. And you know they're not too, because you know that the team, and you talked about this, we've talked about it, run by Pat Riley and coached by Eric Spoelstra and anchored by Jimmy Butler. The Celtics have not demonstrated that. Now maybe from Game 6 to Game 7 there'll be growth, and maybe they'll get there. They've lost at this point multiple times before. Why? It's not because they're not as skilled. It's not because they don't have the talent. There's something that prevents them. When Jaylen Brown missed those 2 free throws the other night that could have put them ahead, that symbolically to me was the point where you go, you know what? They don't have this. They're not a championship team yet. Look, they may prove me wrong. I'm not about to sit here and say the Celtics can't win tonight. That'd be insane.
Right.
But if you ask me to pick, and we are going to pick, I'm picking the team that I know is mentally the toughest team out here, and that's the Miami Heat.
The beauty of this 7-game series is the Boston Celtics have more talent, and they're deeper. But I agree with him. I don't think they're going to win because of exactly what you just said. And here's a thing I want you to watch for, Stephen A. Turnovers off the dribble. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown each have turned the ball over after dribbling 21 times. That's first and second in the NBA playoffs, 7 ahead of the third-place person. The Miami Heat do a terrific job of making them play in the crowd.
Y'all have been wrong before. Tonight you'll be wrong again. Okay.
We will find out. We are getting set for this Game 7 tonight. And you can feel the energy here, and you can feel the energy in the building. Bam Adebayo, Omni Butler, 47 points, and a brilliant performance to keep his team's season alive Friday night in Boston. And so, Michael Wilbon, that is one of the great elimination game performances of all time. What do the Heat need to get from him to win tonight?
Greeny, he's not going to have another game like that. I was going to say nobody ever does, and then we looked up Michael Jordan in '93 against the Suns having 55 backed up by a 16 for 29 performance. Like, okay, somebody can do that. It's not reasonable, I don't think, Jalen, to expect Jimmy Butler to do that, but they're still going to need him to have a 20-plus point game. He likes to. Stephen A. calls him passive. I say he gets everybody involved. He likes to do that sometimes where he'll forego his own shot to get his guys involved. That's what I think we're looking for. I know you are. But Stephen A., I think we're going to look at that tonight where he needs a 8 assists or higher game where he's going to be looking for that. and I think he's going to rebound. I think you can see Jimmy Butler get a triple-double before you're going to see him get 40 whatever and have that kind of prolific scoring game again. But the question is, how much energy does he have left? How much coming off the injury does he have left? There's still a lot of physical questions to me about him and Kyle Lowry going into the night's Game 7.
Jimmy Butler's a warrior, and he's on a mission to prove that he deserves the accolade that he's been given as of late, but he's deserved it for quite some time now, and he feels shortchanged by me and various others, and he knows I love him, and he still feels shortchanged. So he's out to prove something. I think on a night like tonight, he needs 30. Here's why I think he needs 30, Wilbon, at least 30. And I'm not saying something close to a triple-double, but at least 30 points. Because Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown are coming tonight. I think one of those two is going to have a big-time offensive game, and they're going to be ready to match offensively what Jimmy Butler gives you.
I'll say offensively between 25 and 30, but the key for him is to continue to work the game. He was 11 for 11 from the free throw line. That slows the game down, makes the Boston Celtics play against your half-court defense. He made 4 threes. He's not much of a three-point shooter. He has to shoot those with confidence. But more importantly, points off of turnovers. Jimmy Butler leads the league in the playoffs this year, 7 points off turnovers, getting 2 steals per game. Getting them out in transition is going to be a key.
The Heat got buckets from different places the other night. Max Strus finally came to life. Kyle Lowry had a big night in Los Angeles. Darvin Ham getting the nod. He's been on the Bucks bench the past few years, actually played against LeBron once upon a time in the NBA. Adrian Wojnarowski broke the story just minutes before tip on Friday night, and he's back with us here. Woj, take us through this process. How did the Lakers wind up choosing Darvin Ham for the position?
Well, let's start with the entire process, Greeny. The one thing the Lakers did not want to do, because they're so limited in assets, draft picks, they did not want to use a pick to offer another team for a coach under contract. They've got to get this roster better. They've got to use their picks to do that. But Darvin Ham separated himself very early in this process. His stature, his leadership, his command, they believe, of the locker room, and his pedigree as an assistant coach in Milwaukee and Atlanta under Mike Budenholzer. This has been one of the most, I think, one of the highly functioning coaching staffs in the league for nearly a decade in Atlanta, in Milwaukee. That not only is this a leader of men, but someone who they believe is going to be a very good tactical head coach. Giannis Antetokounmpo said to me, listen, this was long overdue. He is going to command the respect of players there. He's the right coach for that team. You saw LeBron James's reaction. Darvin Ham's already to work. He's been to draft workouts for the Lakers. He's putting his coaching staff together. And now Darvin Ham, listen, I think initially, as they start to look at this roster, how does he incorporate Russell Westbrook into this team and figure out how to get him back playing at a high level with Anthony Davis, with LeBron James? And that's going to be one of his initial challenges in LA.
A lot of question marks there, Woj. Outstanding as always. And I mentioned Darvin Ham once upon a time played against LeBron James. There you see it. That was a very young LeBron, and candidly, a very young Darvin Ham back in those days as well, as they went head-to-head on the floor. So, Stephen A., it does bring up a lot of questions. I mean, the West is so young and so deep. What are the realistic championship hopes for LeBron James as he looks towards the rest of his career?
None. Not championships, but postseason participation, yes. But when we talk about championships, you've got to look at the Clippers, the Suns, the Warriors, the Mavericks, the Timberwolves, Zion Williamson now with New Orleans. These are all teams that you think about before you even get to the Lakers. And the Nuggets with Murray and Porter Jr. coming back. But still in all, listen, Darvin Ham, I didn't know whether this is the right situation, but I'm so happy for him. He deserves this opportunity, and there's no question about it. He's going to elevate their level of toughness. You got to take that into consideration. You look at Russell Westbrook, it's the wild card, because I don't believe Russell Westbrook is finished. I believe Russell Westbrook still has something in him. Here's the issue. Russell Westbrook has to look at basketball film and stop thinking that every time somebody critiques his game, their character assassinating him. No one wants to talk about Russell Westbrook's character. He's a good dude. Heart's in the right place. Does a lot of things in the community. You don't have a jump shot, and you struggle with your free throw shooting too, and turning over the basketball. Let's fix that and
then you might have a chance to make some noise if you're the Los Angeles Lakers and LeBron James. And, of course, Anthony Davis needs to be healthy.
Well, I think that's an interesting way of putting it. Can Darvin Ham, Jalen, fix what's wrong with the Lakers?
I say yes. And here's the thing. It has to do with Anthony Davis. Of course, he's not a doctor and can't keep him healthy. But if Anthony Davis can give them remotely 65 or 70 games throughout the regular season, Darvin was there to help develop Al Horford, Giannis Antetokounmpo, defensively Brook Lopez, and Bobby Portis. If they could get Anthony Davis back playing like an all-NBA player, that means LeBron doesn't have to carry the load throughout the regular season, Wilbon, and he'll be fresher towards the playoffs because they'll have a better seed.
I'm not seeing it. And I love Darvin Ham. I'm one of the people that covered him as a player. And Darvin Ham has put in the work, right? I mean, you know, people want to ascend quickly. Darvin Ham has really put it in, and I'm rooting for him. But you talking about Russell Westbrook coming back with that group? I don't see that. I don't see Darvin Ham or anybody else fixing it. I don't see Red Auerbach in the 60s or Phil Jackson or Pat Riley. No, that doesn't work. It's like Brooklyn, waiting for that whole thing to work in Brooklyn. Stephen A. called this out the other night. Individuals versus team. These other people we talking about got teams. They got team. When the Denver Nuggets come back, when they get their people, they got a team that we're going to be looking at ascend. The Dallas Mavericks have a team. Memphis has a team. The Lakers, they got individuals with great names. We're going to be. They got drama. That's what they've got. I don't see that working until they change the team.
They've got a long way to go. Remember, 10 teams played beyond the regular season, or the 82 games of the regular season of the Western Conference, and they were not among those 10. In the meantime, Jason Tatum looking to lead his team tonight. The Celtics to the NBA Finals would be the first trip for the young superstar. We are counting it down towards tip-off here. And that brings us, Jalen Rose,
Let's get
to
it.
Tonight's main event.
Yes,
it is
indeed.
time for DraftKings prediction.
Money, we get people rich.
Jalen, you've been unbelievable. Jalen is 12-6 in the conference finals, but here we go for Game 7. Will Tatum score 29 or more tonight?
Well, that's a tricky question because usually when he does that, the Celtics are unbeatable. When he goes under that, they lose. I believe they won't win today, so he goes under.
Next is his running mate, Jaylen Brown. 24 or more points for Jaylen Brown tonight.
He's been terrific, and if the Boston Celtics win, he has a legitimate chance to be the Larry Bird Eastern Conference player in this series. I say he goes over.
And then one more, Al Horford, the big fella, combined for 23 or more points, rebounds, and assists. Will he do it?
Well, he's going to get a double-double, and he's a terrific passer for a big. Al Horford, the seasoned veteran, in his 8th Game 7.